Before the headlines and the tragedy, the name Camilo Ochoa Delgado might have just sounded like any other name among millions of social media users in Mexico. But his life story was far from ordinary. He grew up in a tough neighborhood, where organized crime wasn't just a story, but an everyday reality that shaped how he saw the world. Camilo Ochoa Delgado was a name that echoed across Mexican social media, not just because he was brave, but also because he was so honest in a digital world full of fakes. But not for the usual reasons. Camilo wasn't looking for fame in the normal way. He chose a dangerous and risky path. He wasn't your average influencer. He claimed to be a former member of the Sinaloa cartel, using YouTube and TikTok to expose how organized crime works. Every video he uploaded was a piece of a true story, full of details rarely seen by the public. His honest stories, especially about the cartel's internal wars, drew millions of viewers who were fascinated and scared. Many waited for his latest upload, wanting to know more about the dark world rarely talked about openly. Fame brought him loyal followers and deadly enemies. He was seen as a brave truth-teller or a dangerous burden. Every step he took was watched, every word he said could be a threat to himself. By revealing the cartel's secrets, Camilo blurred the line between reporting and being involved, making his life and his death a symbol of a new dangerous era of content creation in Mexico. He became an icon for some and a warning for others. In the end, the violence he showed online found him, silencing his voice forever. But Camilo Ochoa's legacy lives on, as a reminder of the danger, bravery, and the price of telling the truth in a risky world. On August 16, 2025, Camilo's day started like any other, active on social media, chatting with followers, showing off a simple black shirt and gray pants. Hours later, gunshots shattered the peace of Lomas de Cuernavaca, Morelos. A single gunman attacked with terrifying precision, escaping before anyone could react. Camilo's family inside the house was thrown into chaos and horror. Emergency calls came too late. The violence he talked about online had invaded his home. The attack had all the hallmarks of a cartel hit: quick, targeted, and merciless. Camilo's last day, broadcast worldwide, ended in the very violence he warned about. The police arrived. They found Camilo's home changed from a familiar background to a crime scene. They found him lifeless in the bathroom, still wearing the clothes from his last video. The location showed a desperate attempt to hide or escape. The forensic team searched the scene for evidence, confirming an execution-style murder. The attack's professionalism was clear. This was a targeted killing, not a random act. Outside, neighbors and media gathered, realizing that even fame couldn't protect someone from cartel revenge. The roots of Camilo's murder can be traced back to January 2025, when narcomantas, public death threats written on large fabric banners, appeared in Culiacan. The city woke up scared, because these scary messages were hung on bridges and main intersections, marking the start of a new chapter in the brutal cartel war. Narcomantas weren't just warnings. They were open declarations of war, spreading fear among citizens and warning anyone who dared to go against them. Camilo's face was one of 25 listed, accused of working with Los Chapitos, El Chapo's sons, in their war against Los Mayos. The names were shown without mercy, as if they had already been found guilty in the public eye. Every face on that poster carried the same heavy threat, showing that there was no safe place for them in Sinaloa. The pamphlets mentioned the names of influencers and musicians, taking away their privacy and putting a target on their backs. Not only that, social media celebrities and local artists were also pulled into it, making the danger bigger and reaching more people. Every flyer scattered on the streets was a real reminder that anyone could be the next target. The message was clear: these public figures were now enemies in the brutal cartel conflict. They weren't just threatened physically, but also cut off socially, forced to live in fear and suspicion. Every move they made was watched. Every interaction could lead to danger. Narcomantas didn't just threaten, they urged the public to stay away from these creators, isolating them even more. The messages spread quickly, creating a feeling of fear throughout the city. People started avoiding those whose names were listed, afraid of getting involved or being suspected. For Camilo, who was already known for his cartel confessions, this was a clear death sentence. He became a symbol of the risks faced by anyone who dared to speak out or appear in public, especially in the middle of a bloody conflict like this. The pamphlets turned an unclear danger into a direct and immediate threat. Every piece of paper, every message on a wall made it clear that the threat was real and could come at any time to anyone. After the flyers, Camilo's life changed overnight. He was now a marked man. The public accusations made him a target for rivals, law enforcement, and even supposed allies. Friends kept their distance. Every stranger became a possible threat. Despite the fear, Camilo kept posting, but the shadow of those flyers hung over every word. The accusations were specific. He was called a financier and a helper, which made deadly force okay in the cartel's way of thinking. The flyers also warned the public to stay away from his content, cutting him off from his audience. For months, Camilo lived with a public death sentence, his murder a predictable result of the scare tactics. In Mexico's cartel war, such threats are personal, never-ending, and very real. Camilo's content was a high-risk game. He wasn't just reporting on crime, he claimed to have lived it as a Sinaloa cartel plaza boss. His detailed stories of cartel feuds and operations made him both fascinating and controversial. By breaking down the ongoing war between Los Chapitos and Los Mayos, he risked angering both sides. A viral interview brought him national fame, and a bigger target on his back. In this world, being neutral is just a dream. Every word can be seen as a betrayal. Whether his stories were true or not, what people thought was everything. The narcomantas were a public warning. His time to talk was almost up. Camilo's murder was the sixth tied to the narcomantas in January, turning those flyers into a deadly hit list. Each killing made the threat stronger, showing the killers were carefully working through the names. The murder of Gail Castro, brother of influencer Marquitos Toys, proved the danger spread to families and crossed state lines. These weren't random acts, but a planned effort to take down rivals and scare anyone connected to them. For the remaining names, including Peso Pluma and Marquitos Toys, Camilo's death was a scary warning. The killers were still at work. The connection between the flyers and the murders was now clear as day. The message, no one on the list was safe. The authorities started a full investigation, linking Camilo's murder to the narcomantas and a series of related killings. The case quickly moved up to the federal level because it was connected to organized crime. Investigators looked for patterns, but cartel attacks are very hard to solve. The killers leave very little evidence, and witnesses are too scared to talk. The masterminds stay hidden, protected by layers of people working for them. Even with official promises, people are very doubtful. In Mexico, getting justice for cartel-related murders is rare. For now, the investigation is just a formality, with few expecting real answers. Camilo Ochoa's murder sent a strong warning to Mexican journalists and influencers. This tragedy wasn't just a headline, it was a danger signal echoing through the digital creator community. Every word, every post now feels like walking on a minefield. Talking about cartels can be a death sentence. Many are now realizing that discussing sensitive topics online is as dangerous as reporting in the field. Threats don't just come physically, but digitally too, through messages, comments, and online intimidation. The illusion of safety behind a screen is shattered. Cartels are watching and they don't tolerate public scrutiny. They monitor every move, both in the real world and online, creating an atmosphere of fear that suppresses freedom of expression. Independent creators, who don't have institutional protection, are very vulnerable. They work alone, without legal or security support, making them easy targets for those who want to silence critical voices. Narcomantas target not only former cartel members, but also musicians and commentators, anyone considered to be taking sides. These threatening messages spread widely, warning anyone who dares to speak out or criticize. The chilling effect is real. Creators have to choose between silence and constant fear. Many are starting to limit their content, delete old posts, or even stop talking altogether for their own safety and their families. When more voices are silenced, the narrative risks being completely controlled by criminals. The public discussion space shrinks, and society loses access to honest and brave information. Camilo's death expanded the danger zone into the digital world, making words as risky as weapons. Now, threats know no spatial boundaries. Every creator must always be vigilant, even when behind a screen. For Mexican content creators, the price of going viral has never been this high. Every click, every share, could have terrible consequences. But amidst the fear, there are still those who dare to speak out, fighting to keep the truth heard.